Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Monday, June 3rd. We're about 15 minutes pre-market open, and we're looking at the futures in the Bloomberg app, and we can see that the majority of these are in the green. The Dow is even currently, unchanged from its close. What we did see on Friday, interestingly enough, was an uptick in almost every stock at the end of the day. Everything moved higher towards or in the last 30 minutes of trading, which provided for almost everything, which provided for a very positive close to the week. If we take a look at the Yahoo app here, and if we start at the top in the indices, in the top itself, we'll see that crude is off 26 cents, dropping further down below $77 to 76.73 currently. I do think that we'll see that recover up into the $77 mark today, but it is still in the lower end of the range. And that is helping with some of our inflation numbers and the feeling that consumers get when going to the gas pump as gas prices are lower than they have been in past months. We can also see the futures, the best of the three indices, is up 102 points. And the VIX, the 30-day volatility index, is still fairly low. It was in the 12s last week. It's gone up a point, so it's in the 13 range this week, but it is well below, say, the 18 plus that would be a concern or suggest a bit of a change in sentiment going into the week. If we look at some of the potential movers this week, so although we're getting to the end of earnings season, we do have some big retailers that are going to be announcing this week. So Lululemon announces on Wednesday, the 6th, and then we have another retailer, Bath and Body Works, announcing on Tuesday. We also have CrowdStrike, a technology company, announcing, this is a cybersecurity company, and one that has done very well in the past, announcing on Tuesday as well. If we scroll down and go back to Wednesday with Lululemon, we also have a discount retailer, Dollar Tree, making announcements that week. We have the Campbell Soup Company making announcements on the Wednesday as well. And then we go to Thursday and we have Neo and DocuSign, as well as retailer Big Lots, and then software company Autodesk. That's on the 6th. Making some announcements. So be interesting to see what comes out of these. There could be some moves, certainly in those stocks. If we look at Lulu has been down in the 300s. It had a positive end and positive day on Friday, up $9. If you're a believer that retail sales have picked up in Lulu specifically, or in Dollar Tree or any of these other retailers, you might be in a good position to pick up some of those stocks. Consumer spending suggests at a high level that may not be the case in higher end retailers where products are more expensive. However, in the lower end, we have seen some positive growth. So Dollar Tree may be one to lean towards more than, say, a Lululemon on the expensive side. We also have HP actually coming out with results tomorrow on the 4th. So that will be an interesting one to watch. Dell came out with results, Dell Technologies, last week, and they got hammered. So it'll be interesting to see whether HP's in the same boat. I do expect, though, on a pullback, Dell and HP might be very interesting longer-term acquisitions because we must be coming into or starting to come into a PC refresh cycle on the corporate side, having seen that as we entered COVID, say, in the 2020 timeframe. So we're now 4 years into that, and usually corporations refresh PCs in the 5 and 6 year time frame, and maybe starting at the executive level in the 4 year time frame. So we may be moving into to see some movement there, as well as the addition of the new key on the keyboard by Microsoft for Cortana or their AI functionality, and that could push some transition in some companies with early AI adoption of their corporate user base. If we continue to roll down the list, Humana, minus $9. Again, this stock tends to be plus and minus, let's call it $8 to $10 in the pre-market. Often means nothing upon open. So this could be an interesting discounted purchase, and it could open back at 358 or higher. Looking at HCA, it's up $1.94. Cardinals even. So kind of suggests that there's a varied movement in those. JB Hunt made a nice little comeback on for a nice little tidy profit on Friday, finishing at 160. It was down pre-market almost $3 earlier this morning and is now up 83 cents. So we'll see what the overall market does there and what it holds for that. CNR also bumped up, as you can see, right at the end of the day in both of the charts for these two stocks. That one up almost $4. If we get into oil, oil had a very good day on Friday. Across the board. And again, you can see the uptick in these at the end of the day. Valero making a $6.24 rise or comeback, which was nice to see. We also scroll down and we can see that even though those are going up, crude has been coming down. So we're not directly tied to crude with the oil stocks, but it is interesting to see crude just slowly falling in terms of futures pricing, those being the July 24th crude futures prices. And then we get into tech stocks. So here we got slammed on Salesforce, but it made a bit of a comeback last week, or on Friday in particular. Palo Alto, again, was a $330 stock pre-earnings. It got slammed, made a small comeback. Net had got slammed as well on earnings. So Cloudflare and CrowdStrike and Palo Alto all kind of fall into those cybersecurity buckets. And both of those got slammed, which leads me to suggest or think that CrowdStrike may be one to hold off on pre-earnings, but pick some up post-earnings if it does drop. I think a really good stock that got slammed but would be a good one to pick up post-earnings would be CRM. This was a stock trading in the 270 to 290 range, even up into the 300s in the last couple of months, and it is now down into the 230s, obviously well lower prior to the $16 lift on Friday. If you're looking for a long-term tech hold with a great story, this is it. They really haven't even come out and started talking about their AI story. That could mean that it's not fully formalized, or it could mean they're just holding off on that message and narrative until the time's right to give it an additional kick and bump up. Microsoft down at 415 when its highs were up in the 430s, and just some great expected results continuing out of this company. It's a cash flow generating machine, much like Meta. I think you've got a solid long-term acquisition there in the 415s. ARM is just amazing to me. This is a stock that is way overpriced, but it falls into that whole AI narrative and the AI hype, almost a FOMO story here where people just don't want to miss out. To price this in 120s and make a recommendation would be unadvisable in my mind, but there is a tremendous amount of movement in this. So if you like volatility and you're willing to kind of take roll with the swings, roll with the ups and downs, this is certainly one where you can achieve a great deal of profitability, but you have to expect some short-term losses at the same time if you time things wrong. AMD looks like it's going to get a bit of a lift today, but it's still obviously a laggard overall. We scroll down further and we can see some movements in Lam Research. Not huge. I mean, it's been kind of hovering in that $900 to $1,000 range for a little while. Broadcom looks like it's up $24 pre-market. That's a nice little bump. Meta at 467, I think is, this is a stock that, although it recovered in the chart you can see on Friday and had a bit of an uptick, it has a long ways to go to recover and get back up into the 500s. And I think you're buying it at a deep discount right now. And again, a solid company with amazing financials. NVIDIA looks like it's going to bump back up into the 1100s today. An amazing story. You really have to own some NVIDIA right now based on the story, but I certainly wouldn't be overweight in NVIDIA. Take your profits when they come in, and then look at pullbacks and corrections so that you can refill your restock and repurchase what you had sold, and then see if you can recapture another pop or another gain. Google's come back in the 173, 174 range. I still think it's an attractive buy there, but it may pull back a little bit further. I do expect it in June. We're going to be having a bit of a quieter month. Not a lot of Fed speak in June, really waiting for August and when they go out to Wyoming and have the big conference out there in Jackson Hole. So I think that we're going to get a lot of small data points over the next month or so, month and a half. And there'll be little moves in the market itself, but probably more significant moves in individual stocks. I like SoFi in the 690s. And if we scroll down here, I did like JPM in the 190s. I think it's a little pricey in the 200s. I do expect MTB will pull back into the 130s before August or the end of August. And then Goldman, it's been climbing steadily. This is a stock that should be poised to do fairly well this year, as well as Morgan Stanley. And in the 90s, I do like Morgan Stanley. I'd like Goldman to come back into the 430s, and I would certainly pick some up in the 430s. So that's where we are today. Good luck with your trades. If you're liking these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button.